We start with breaking news today. The city of Jackson announces plans to file a lawsuit against Siemens, the water company that has contracted to do work with the city as far as water meters. My co-anchor, Margaret Ann Carter, was there when that announcement was made. Margaret Ann, what can you tell us about the decision?
Well, Terrence, it's all in this lawsuit right here that we were able to obtain after that press conference. Now, the mayor didn't take any questions from media, but the words that he did say were very strong towards Siemens Corporation as well. Now, this is all in the lawsuit. Like I said, the mayor claims Siemens manipulated the city, calling what they did the bait and switch method. Now, he also said that the company promised the city that they would save $120 million after implementation of that system. Instead, they negligently installed several thousand water meters, and 10,000 of those don't work at all. He said this is costing the city $20 million every single year. He said that Siemens failed to deliver a basic functioning system, calling it woefully inadequate in every aspect. Now, in closing, Mayor Chokwe Lumumba said his administration is dedicated to eliminating corruption and incompetence in public contractors. He says they're prepared to face a massive public relations campaign to cast a negative shadow on the city of Jackson, but that the citizens of Jackson deserve justice. Today begins that formal legal proceedings against the city of Jackson and Siemens, along with several others. The defendants listed right here is Siemens Corporation, Siemens AG, Chris McNeil, U.S. Consolidated Inc., U.S. Consolidated Group LLC, Mac and Associates LLC, iVision IT Consultants, Garrett Enterprises Consolidated, and John Dose, and a few other ones as well, is what they say. So we're going to have a lot more on that as I review some of these documents in here in this lawsuit, and we'll bring them to you on WJTV at 5 and 6. For now, we're live in Jackson. Margaret Ann Carter, WJTV 12.
Well, water topping our news headlines. It is not topping our weather headlines. We've got just a few high clouds out there. It feels much different than it did this time yesterday. We're up to 82 degrees, but it feels like 81 because the humidity is only 35%. We have some very dry air out there, and we're going to keep it dry right through the evening. 77 around 7 p.m., going down to about 66, 63 degrees around the midnight hour, 62 during the overnight. So we've got some nice dry weather in the forecast. We're going to talk about how much more dry weather we have coming up in the full forecast a little later in the newscast. Terrence?
Thank you, John. Now, the Legislative Black Caucus met today to talk about Mississippi's Medicaid program, which covers more than 640,000 people in the state. WJTV 12's Gerald Harris joins us now with more on their goal. Gerald?
Terrence, this oversight hearing was to call to allow legislators to have an open dialogue with leaders at the Division of Medicaid. At the top of many of their minds at the meeting was state contracts, Medicaid cost and cover, treatment options, estate recoveries, and a push to expand coverage.
Accessibility to health care. We're not going to stop advocating that, you have a healthier population. If you have more people who can have access to primary health care so that they can get physicals and these kinds of things. And
money where we really think.
This Legislative Black Caucus say the hearing will better inform them from any potential legislation coming in the 2020 legislative session. This time, there's a good chance that someone elected to a leadership position in the Capitol will be supportive of some sort of Medicaid expansion. Terrence?
Gerald, thank you. The state of Mississippi has joined 9 other states in filing a lawsuit that seeks to halt a proposed merger between giants T-Mobile and Sprint. The complaint was filed in New York's federal court. The litigation alleges that the merger of 2 of only 4 national mobile network operators would deprive consumers of the benefits of competition. Attorney General Jim Hood announced that the lawsuit was happening this morning, and he says, quote, "We're trying to stop this merger because Mississippi customers would not benefit from the merger, but it would likely increase prices in the long run for them. Competition creates a healthy market, and a merger like this one would reduce options for consumers." Now to education, Mississippi could see 5 new charter schools, but there are still hurdles for them to overcome. WJTV 12's Katie Rowe is in the newsroom with more on the process that will happen from here. Katie?
Yeah, Terrence, soon there could be 5 more charter schools added to the state, and a couple of them are right outside of the metro. 2 of the applicants are in Greenwood, 1 is in Pike County, and the other 2 are in Vicksburg and Canton. Right now, there are 5 charter schools operating throughout the state and 1 more on the way. The application process began in January.
The application cycle is very rigorous. It's incredibly complex, it's time consuming, and it's lengthy. It's about a 9-month process.
Now, a charter school works under a charter or contract that lasts 5 years. If any of these potential schools make it through the entire application process, they'll receive their contract in September. Terrence?
All right, thank you, Katie. We will be watching to see how that goes. It may be summer break, but for some teachers, the learning doesn't stop. Millsaps College is holding a 3-day summer institute for educators. WJTV 12's Linnea Lewis shows us how they're choosing to focus on art.
Incorporating rhythm in a classroom and arts and crafts
And I've used these with 3rd grade.
are helping students in classrooms around Mississippi learn in a creative way.
This program is about working with our partner schools who want to use what we call arts integration to use it as a teaching tool to integrate art into the core curriculum.
Educators take the skills they learn here in the summer and incorporate it into subjects such as math, history, and even science.
They don't have to wait for them to write it down. They can literally watch them through the movement and dance to know if they understood the concept.
Educators interested in learning more about these creative techniques are encouraged to contact the Mississippi Art Commission.
Everyone has a different learning style. Everybody has different gifts, and we can't be taught in the same way. And so arts integration has been able to empower us to help children make that connection.
In Jackson, Linnea Lewis, WJTV 12.
All right, well, good news from Pike County. A recently issued silver alert has been canceled. Authorities were looking for 86-year-old Anna Mae Gallagher, but we are pleased to report that she's been found safe and is with her family. We do have a few arrest updates to pass along to you. A teenager is arrested and charged with murder after a shooting in Jackson. Police say Charles Willis is in custody after a fatal shooting on McDowell Road near Woodbine Street last month. The 16-year-old will stay in police custody as that case moves forward. Hinds County officials have charged 40-year-old Michael Hicks of Raymond for gratification of lust. Hicks allegedly is accused of having inappropriate relations with 2 minors. He was arrested yesterday in Jackson and is being held at the Raymond Detention Center. If convicted, he faces up to 60 years in prison. Jackson police have arrested 2 men for incidents dating back to 2017. 55-year-old Charles Ingham and also 59-year-old Peter Cerullo are charged with felony false pretense. The men fraudulently obtained $50,000 from victims through businesses that they formerly owned. Police in Tennessee are offering reward money for information in the death of a prominent businessman. Glenn Caulfield was shot and killed Friday after leaving a charity event in Tennessee. Caulfield was born and raised right here in Mississippi. A not so pretty sight for the Hinds County roadways today as 4 vehicles were involved in some serious crashes. Sheriff officials tell us that first responders and the Highway Patrol got to the accident on Highway 27 near Port Gibson Road. 2 of the vehicles involved were 18-wheelers, and the highway had to be completely blocked off for hours as they tried to clear the scene. Injuries are reported, and if you usually frequent that area, you may want to take a detour because there was significant damage as a result. House Democrats have a new tool to go after Trump administration officials who defy congressional subpoenas. Nicole Killian has more from Capitol Hill.
91. The resolution is adopted.
The House has passed a civil contempt resolution that allows committees to sue the Trump administration and enforce congressional subpoenas.
We take an oath to protect our Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And what the White House and the administration are doing is a danger and a threat to our democracy.
The vote authorizes the Judiciary Committee to go to court to compel Attorney General William Barr and former White House counsel Don McGahn to turn over documents and testify before Congress. The White House instructed them and others not to comply with congressional subpoenas.
All they do is waste time on these investigations where there's no obstruction, no collusion, no nothing. And in the meantime, they can't get a border deal done They can't do anything.
Republicans in Congress agree.
You're seeing on the floor again this week Speaker Pelosi wasting her majority on presidential harassment rather than focusing on the priorities of the American people.
The Justice Department struck a deal with House Democrats Monday. It agreed to turn over material collected during special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation and avoided being held in criminal contempt of Congress.
Given this potential breakthrough, we will hold the criminal contempt process for Attorney General Barr in abeyance for now.
Judiciary Chairman Gerald Nadler says DOJ will be turning over evidence he characterized as including interview notes and first-hand accounts of misconduct. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Now, the Democrats will continue to explore the findings of the Mueller report during a House Intelligence Committee hearing tomorrow. One congressman says the goal is to look at the extent of Russian meddling detailed in the Mueller report and also the implications that could have on our national security. Let's get another look at the forecast now.
Well, if you have some evening plans out across the town tonight, no problems whatsoever. It's just going to be partly cloudy. The humidity is going to be on the low side. At 9 p.m. temperature about 69 degrees. Now, what does your Father's Day weekend, how is that shaping up? We're going to talk about that in your full forecast, which is coming up right after the break. You're watching WJTV 12.